Peace, 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 everybody. What's going on with you? It's your guy, Rashawn, aka Looker. And this is another edition of Space Invaders TV. Peace and blessings to y'all all. Man, we just gonna jump right into it. So, we know what the big issue is. One of the big issues right now this week. And I swear it seems like something every week, right? So we got the Colonial Pipeline was hacked, and the hackers, I guess they thought they was gonna get the Colonial Pipeline to pay them some type of ransom money, but that ain't happening. And just to give you a understanding of how this pipeline thing is set up, how the pipelines are set up around the United States. So the Colonial Pipeline starts out in Texas, and the Colonial Pipeline runs from Texas all the way up through the southeast, going back up far north as the New Jersey, New York, the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. You know what I'm saying? That whole area. So everyone, like I just said, from Texas going all the way back up to the northeast is affected, and you get your fuel through the Colonial Pipeline. All right. And see, like, I'm from Jersey, but I'm living in Carolina, right? So it's not like I'm not on that side of the country with you guys that's experiencing this. I'm experiencing, and I'm seeing it as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing what's going on as well. It's not that the United States is out of fuel. They're not out of fuel. It's just that they shut it down, and then now they're starting to, they just got it back, started it back up and running or whatever. I think it's running manually right now, so they're able to keep an eye on it. In the upcoming days, I would probably say probably by Monday at the latest, and everything will be back to normal again. And you know, all your gas stations will start being able to get the fuel that they need, but everything stopped. They had put it on pause, so that meant that none of the fuel trucks could even get fuel to take it to the gas stations because they shut it down. You know what I mean? So it's not that they were out of fuel. So that's the Colonial Pipeline. If you live as far south as Texas, going up Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, going all the way back up to the northeast, if you on this side of the country, you are affected by that Colonial Pipeline. You know what I'm saying? That you get your fuel. Excuse me, y'all. Don't matter what gas station you go to, you getting your fuel through that Colonial Pipeline. Then so like you got places like now see like the Midwest. The Midwest, they get their pipeline is Keystone Pipeline, if I'm not, because that's the only pipeline I could actually see. So Keystone Pipeline is what supplies the Midwest, and that pipeline comes out of Canada. So you got the Midwest and the West Coast. They get supplied from Canada, but the difference is on the West Coast is using 6 different companies. The West Coast, California is big. You know what I'm saying? Then you gotta think about Washington State, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So they're using like 6 different companies. You know, from out of Canada, the Rocky Mountain states like Colorado, and then the Southwest, which is they getting a pipeline. They can be coming out of Arizona, New Mexico, you know what I'm saying, and as well parts of and as well Texas. You know what I'm saying? They could be used in Texas as well too. So yeah, that's how the country is broke down. Everybody is not using that one pipeline. You get a pipeline, and then you got to figure, because in Texas, man, they can pump right there. You know what I'm saying? Out. They pump there right there out of the ground, man. Right out there in the ocean, man. They be out there. Louisiana, you know what I'm saying? They got the oil rigs and stuff, so that's where we're getting our fuel from. You understand me? And that's how that's working. And I've been hearing many things, like, you know, I'm hearing people saying some stuff like, oh, if it wasn't for the president, it's the president's fault. It's the president's fault. You can't blame the president for somebody hacking into the pipeline. You can't blame that. You got hackers all day hacking computers. You got hackers all day hacking sites such as like you could be hacking your Amazon. They could be hacking your Amazon accounts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's hackers. You can't blame someone, because you have people that sit there and that's what they do. That's what they're doing. They're trying to find out how to break the codes and get into, you know, these sensitive areas within these companies. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how they go. Hey, you got hackers on Netflix, man. You know, I had a Netflix account. I don't use it no more. I don't have it. I've been shut it down probably 2 years now. Somebody was hacking into my account. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. So you got to pay attention to that, because you can have a Netflix account and somebody could probably be hacking your account and you don't even know somebody else is attached to your account. But if you ain't checking, if you ain't paying attention, you know what I mean? So it's real, for real. But so I'm hearing people blaming the president for the fuel. You can't blame the president for you know, because the pipeline, they shut the pipeline down. You know what I mean? It's not like we're out of fuel. They just shut it down for protection reasons. You know? But if you want to blame somebody, you want to blame the head of the EPA. You know what I'm saying? The Environmental Protection Agency. You want to blame, if you want to try to blame somebody, but you know what I mean? Blame Michael S. Reagan. You know what I'm saying? He's the head of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. If you're trying to blame somebody, he's the head of the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States. That's a department in the United States. You want to blame him, blame somebody, blame him. That's his job. You know what I'm saying? That's what he oversees. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people want to, you can't blame the president for everything, man. You know what I mean? You just can't do that, man. We gotta be a little wiser than that, man. You know, and just moving on to talk about, you know, more of the fuel. You know, people out here going crazy and having accidents, and there's fights at fuel pumps. Like, come on, man, we gotta be a little smarter than that. And if you don't have to travel this weekend, and by the way, today is It is May the 12th, 2021. So this up and coming weekend here, you know, it's Wednesday, May the 12th, 2021. So this up and coming weekend, if you don't have to travel, don't travel, because it's gonna be hard for you to get fuel. You know what I mean? It's gonna be hard for you to get fuel, and you may get stranded in certain places until the fuel line, because they're running it manually, so the fuel is gonna pump through. It's coming through slowly. You know what I mean? But when it should be full-fledged by the top of the week next week. You know what I mean? So if you don't have to go nowhere, if you can cancel your plans, be safe. Let's use our brains in these situations. You know what I'm saying? Now, this isn't the first time that we lost fuel, right? We just had experienced this not too long ago when there was a kind of a shortage. You know what I mean? But it's not that now. Someone tried to hack into, into the systems. So they had to protect themselves. They had to lock it down, and that's pretty much what happened. You know. And yeah, you had to be inconvenienced. You know, us as a people, sometimes things happen, and people, it just seems like people don't understand. Like, things happen, and it's out of your control, and you just have to, sit back and collect yourself sometimes, because it could be far worse. You know what I mean? Sometimes some people make things a little worse than what they are. And at the end of the day, everybody just has to that's just like somebody, like I just said, if you don't have to travel, don't travel. Now, somebody may be pissed off right now because they're like, oh fuck, I can't travel this weekend. Oh, thanks for no gas. Thanks for Hey man, if you step back and listen and read and seeing what's going on, that can help a lot of things. Like I just said, people were blaming I'm hearing people blaming the president. You can't blame the president for he has no control of them having to shut the fuel line down because of a safety issue. You know what I mean? Come on, man. We gotta be a little more positive. Now, is it things that, yes, there's other things he should be moving a little faster with these legislations and all that. They should be signing off. But again, that's out of his hands, because again, things move through the Senate and the House and all of that stuff, man. So it's out of his control. He can agree on things, but it still has to move through. Now, it's one thing if someone's not, you want to blame the president for whatever. If he's just not speaking up and doing anything, we gotta understand too, man, at a time, and I'm not trying to cape or cap for the president. What I'm just saying is, you have to understand when somebody's stepping in, and there's a lot of things that need to be done. I've talked about this last year. If you go back to my old videos, I talk about when a new president came in and took over after Trump, it was going to be so much work that needed to be done because there was no country business being done. No country business was handled. So it was going to be a lot that needed to be taken care of. A lot of needs. Everything is needed. You know what I mean? Everything is needed. A lot of country business was not taken care of. So, it's gotta be one thing at a time. You know what I mean? You gotta use common sense with that. But so moving on, man. Yeah. So let's just look back here for a minute. So you see, we had someone trying to trying to hack into the fuel lines. Okay, one of the biggest pipeline in the country is the Colonial. Okay, so they had to shut that down. All right, so we look back just last year. You had the COVID. You know, a lot of lives was lost. We was even faced with threats of having a food shortage last year, especially with the meat processing plants being, you know what I'm saying, having to be shut down or running on skeleton crews because some of the crews had contracted the COVID. So I mean, we was on the line. You had crops I want to say the year before, or the year before in 2019. I want to say the fall of 2019, the crops. It was a threat with that because of the cold air had froze some of the crops. So we were hit with a lot of stuff, man. Then you had due to the COVID, all the trickle down that happened with the COVID, with people losing their businesses and their jobs. People were, if it wasn't for the government stepping in and doing what they did, it would have been a lot of people homeless right now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people homeless, homeowners, renters. It would have been a lot of people homeless right now due to them being out of work and things of that nature, and not having the funds to take care of their business. So we were faced with that, and like I said, then now you're looking at, they had to shut down the pipeline for a minute, until they got that together. But if you just step back and look at the last 20 years, the livelihood of Americans has been tampered with. You know what I mean? The livelihoods have been tampered with. If you go back, we could go back to 9/11. Livelihoods were tampered with. We lost lives then. You know what I mean? All around the country. You know what I mean? From that situation, different parts of the country, I should say, we lost lives from that situation. The way that traveling had changed after that. If anybody really pay attention, and then we know if you were taking flights before that and going out of the country, or just whatever, just taking flights, period. If you were traveling before 9/11 occurred, then you would know after that the security measures and things that were put into place afterwards. Way of life had changed just a little bit after 9/11. You know what I mean? Because again, the livelihood of Americans was tampered with. So if you just look back to that, and then from 01, from coming all the way up to present day, there's been a lot of things taking place. A lot of things taking place. You had people storming state houses in DC, and you know what I'm saying, climbing up walls, and these were Americans. People are just losing it for whatever, because they're believing something that was false, and people are tripping out. You know what I mean? And it's just been going on, man, and on and on and on. So, moving on here. So, I want to get to this. Another topic that's on is this unemployment situation. Now, I knew that this was going to come. Let me get to this, and I can read this for y'all, so we can get it clear, so y'all can see where I'm coming from. This is an article from, I think this is out of Rochester. Yeah, I think this is out of Rochester. 13 ABC WHAM. Okay, it's saying Rochester, New York. The Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce says Local job opportunities are endless. We've got literally thousands of jobs. I think our job board has something like 2,000 to 3,000 jobs right now that we're looking to help folks to fill, said Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce Chief of Staff Mark Cohen. The chamber has resources to help bring people back to the workforce. It's working with state and federal partners to make sure benefits are going to people who need them. We are fully supportive of unemployment benefits, federal programs available, and folks who need should be taking advantage of it, said Cohen. We take issue with those folks who are acting in bad faith, who do have opportunity to re-enter the workforce and choose not to because the money they are getting right now might be a little bit better than what they were getting before. Moving on. Several states are moving to get rid of the extra $300 a week and pandemic-related unemployment benefits to entice people to go back to work. 13 WHAM asks Congressman Joe Morrell, Democrat of New York, if New York should do the same. That will be a decision the states make, but I'm not encouraging them to do so. I think the president made it clear that there are so many families still struggling. Andrea DePasquale works at Nanny's Kitchen. She says her employer has good working conditions, but she understands why others wouldn't return to places with low wages and long hours. To me, taking handout says you value yourself enough to not put yourself through things that you shouldn't have to deal with, she said. If things are hard for the owner, imagine how hard it is for the people who are barely getting paid. All right, I'm gonna stop right there. So I kind of knew this was gonna happen. Once you start hearing business owners speaking about their opening back up and they're ready to open up, but they can't get employees to come in, and they're trying so many incentives to try to get people to come back and work or whatever, different companies. I'm hearing different things, but people just aren't trying to come back to work. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of knew this would happen because, again, the government put money out there. Either these businesses received it or not, the PPP money. And the government has to look at it like, okay, we gave up this money. But now these people are saying, now these business owners are saying, small business owners are saying they can't get employees. So now it's going to be a toss-up. They're going to have to do something. So I already knew that eventually the states are going to join in. And if it's something that is up to the states, I think these states are going to start implementing something. Because one thing that I did know, I said, okay, now, if the unemployment office in your state, if they know that there are jobs there, and you are to go out and look for work, right? But you keep reporting back that there ain't no jobs, but they have a job board, just as they talked about it here in Rochester. Just as they talked about it here in Rochester, New York. On their job board, they have something like 2,000 to 3,000 jobs. Okay? So, if everybody's calling in every week or whatever, however you doing it with the unemployment, and you're saying that, or they figuring out you ain't working, then they're like, okay, well, we got the jobs. Why are you not working? You see, if my memory serves me correct, maybe it was a time when I was out of work and unemployed. I remember when unemployment, at least in the 90s, they were doing it. I don't know when they actually stopped it, but I remember when unemployment would call, check behind you. If you wrote down that you went to a job or you know, and you know they didn't hire you or whatever the case was, unemployment would check behind you. You know what I'm saying? And they would call those employers and ask if they spoke with you. I remember you would have to come into an employer with the paper, and you would have to ask them to put their name down in the paper stand that this who you spoke to at such and such, like whatever business it was. So I guarantee you it's gonna come back to that. And they're gonna come back to that, you know. And this is just gonna weed out everyone. You know what I'm saying? Granted, some things are different. Some people, their children weren't back in school, so that also caused them to not be able to go back to work. You know what I mean? Because they might have small children and have to stay home. They can't afford after school care or child care for them. They probably couldn't afford it, or if there were vouchers, they didn't get them. You know what I'm saying? They weren't. You know. So other people, it's people that have valid situations why they're not going back to work. But they're gonna weed out, and I knew that was gonna come. That they were gonna chop that extra money off. You know what I mean? That extra $300 they were given for unemployment. I knew it was gonna happen. So all I gotta say, man, is if you're able to get back to work, man, get back to work, get back out here. That money's not gonna, it's not gonna last forever. And even if you're in a state and your state don't adopt this new rule here and want to cut the extended benefit of the extended unemployment benefits, even if they don't want to cut that 300, your state you may be living in may not want to cut that extended benefit. You're gonna still have to go back. Where it's gonna end. It's gonna come to an end. So get yourself back out in the workforce, man, or create you the business that you always wanted to do, man. But get back in motion, because at the end of the day, this country is built off of money, man. It's built off of the working class, man. You know what I mean? It's a business, man, and you're gonna have to get back out here, because it's just not. They're not gonna continue to give up no more money. I'm seeing different stories and I'm hearing different things about or maybe another stimulus check down the pipeline. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? We can't keep falling for that. I don't believe it's another check coming, another stimulus check coming. That's it. I don't think there's another one coming. You have to. I don't think they're gonna keep giving out any more money. I don't care what the talk is. I just don't see that happening. You know what I'm saying? Especially, you gotta remember something. Now the Republicans didn't want to get no more money last year. Remember when they gave everybody that punk $600? Now the Republicans didn't want to get no more money because at that time, back in December, they was under the impression, they were feeling like, oh, it's more jobs. The economy is opening back up. The job market is opening back up. That was false at that time, but they was actually believing that. They were believing that. So that was one of the reasons why that they really didn't want to give up no more money than what they did when they gave up that $600 at the end of 2020. You know what I'm saying? That, I believe that played part in that, because if you go back and you go back and look up information about the job market at that time, you will see that they were talking as if the job market was, but it was like, you're saying the job market, you're saying there's jobs there, but people are now in their brain like, I don't want to be working out in the public and somebody can have COVID and I don't know. You know what I'm saying? The vaccine still wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, But like I said, man, I kind of knew that this was gonna happen with the unemployment. I've spoken about it. Had private talks and with folks and talked about this, and so it's kind of funny to see that what I was speaking on weeks ago, you know what I'm saying, has is pretty much coming to light. And I pretty much knew once the employers, like, once employers, small businesses or whatever, start saying that, yeah, we're hiring, we can't get no people. And we might be forced to shut down because we can't get any workers. And just like the lady said here, and I'm going to wrap it up. She made a point here. I'm trying to see what she said. She said something to the effect that I'm trying to find that line where that lady said what she said. Okay, I think it was right here. She says this lady name was Andrea DePascal, and she works at a restaurant, Nanny's Kitchen, and I think this is in Rochester. And she says, to me, taking a handout says you value yourself enough not to put yourself through things that you shouldn't have to deal with. She says, if things are hard for owners, now this is the line that got me, because, she said, if things are hard for the owners, imagine how hard it is for the people who are barely getting paid. So the owners are complaining about, they can't get employees and things of that nature, and it's hurting them, But yeah, imagine the people that wants to stay home because they're like, hey, I'm making more money sitting at home. It's a shame that I can get more money at this time on unemployment than I can get to come work for you. And I can't, they're still going back and forth. And that talk kind of seemed like it stalled out a little bit about the minimum wage being $15 an hour. You have people complaining about paying people $15 an hour. And you have people, and you have corporations or businesses that may be complaining that have been doing business for well over a decade. You got some businesses that been getting money for a whole century, getting money, you know what I mean? But they don't want to pay their employees. Not even a $15 minimum wage. It's amazing, man. But yo, that's my time. I wasn't gonna hold y'all up. I just wanted to tap in and talk about those things right there. The Colonial Pipeline, as I said again, it should be like as they said earlier today as well. Well, they had it on the manual anyway. So they were distributing what they want to distribute out at the time after they got everything situated with that hack. It's not that the U.S. is out of fuel. It's just that they shut the pipeline down because of the hack into their system. So I presume at least by Monday, you may start seeing things coming back to normal. You may start seeing more of those fuel trucks around. They're gonna be out here. You know what I'm saying? Once you start seeing them moving around, just know the fuel is back 100. When you start seeing them fuel trucks, I'm in the transportation business. I'm just trying to let y'all know. I'm trying to get y'all a gem. You start seeing them fuel trucks riding around. You start seeing them. Just know that the fuel is back. because they're going to drop the fuel in the ground at the gas stations. So just when you see that, just know that. You know what I mean? That's one of your signs, one of your cues. Another thing, hey man, just keep your eyes on those on your state and whatever what they're doing with, if your state is one of the states where they're gonna be trying to cut those extended unemployment benefits of that $300. Just keep your eyes on it, because you know you got places like Rochester, they're talking about doing it, and other states are talking about. Sources are saying that other states is thinking about taking that same route, which I believe it will happen, because you know you got to get things back in perspective. One more thing before I wrap it up. I want to say, continue to send my blessings out to Andrew Brown down in Elizabeth City, the brother that was shot in the back of the head, murdered by by the sheriff department down there. His family has been able to view the tape. From my understanding, it was multiple tapes, you know, but the family was able to view the tapes and seen what actually happened, and seeing that Andrew Brown did not even threaten them with the vehicle at all. He was actually trying to get away from them. What they were saying, what the family was saying, from what they saw, and the lawyers are speaking. The lawyers of the Brown family. The lawyers for the family were speaking as well, and saying that he didn't pose any threat. He had his hands on the steering wheel the whole time, and it was pretty much like they jumped out the vehicle and just start lighting his car up, just start shooting at him. You know, and let's be mindful here. It would just let's remember that they were only serving him they were serving a warrant. You know, from my understanding, it was for a drug charge. I don't know if it was for a missed court date or something like. Obviously, it had to be a missed court date. So, like, why would you feel the need to come as if you coming to bust a kingpin? You know what I mean? Like, you coming like y'all got to go kick down doors at the Carter from New Jack City. Like, y'all going to kick the Carter down. You know what I mean? Like, like y'all know y'all gonna have some, like, it's gonna be a gunfight, and ultimately y'all just murdered that man Andrew Brown. So I'm glad that the family got to see that, and they're petitioning. They're trying to get their case moved. You know what I mean? Possibly, I guess they're trying to get it moved out of Elizabeth City, which I believe they need to get it moved out of that city. They need to get it moved from down there altogether and come up somewhere on neutral grounds. Come out to Wake County, Raleigh, Durham, and have the case heard up there. Have a trial there, because down there, you know what I'm saying, they ain't playing fair. They playing dirty, man. It's that good old boy system. But peace and blessings to the family. I'll continue to keep you in my prayers, and I continue to pray that your family seeks justice, and Andrew Brown can rest in peace. You know, he can rest in peace. So peace and blessings, y'all. I'm your guy, Rashawn, aka Looker, and this is Space Invaders TV. I'll holler at y'all next week. Oh yeah, and I got something real great coming up for y'all. I ain't gonna tell you, I'm gonna surprise you. You know what I'm saying? I got another great show coming up. I'm gonna hit another historic site. This should be really good. But y'all find out when I drop it. You know what I'm saying? I just like to surprise y'all with them things, if it interests you. Peace and blessings, y'all. I'm out. Make sure y'all tell a friend, Make sure you subscribe to this page as well. We talk about good things over here. This is not a channel where we bash anybody. You know what I mean? We just want to kick knowledge, spread love, spread knowledge. Each one teach one. That's it. Nothing else. Peace and blessings, y'all.